What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Sansom Sports Media Podcast. We're your hosts, Hunter and Michael, coming at you here on the 12th of January. Mike, how's it going?
I'm still recovering from the Bears-Packers game of the weekend.
You're recovering a lot better now that the Bears won, though, right? It could have been a lot worse.
Honestly, halftime I was thinking, great season, but,
And I don't think that anybody would have thought anything less of you guys had it just been that minute. But I might be overreacting, recency bias, whatever you want to call it. Was this the best wild card weekend we've ever seen?
I'm trying to recall one that, I think there might have been one like 20 some years ago, maybe like 03, where all four the first those games were like decided by a possession, but this is as best as I can remember. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. So I'm not speaking hyperbolic.
No, the Chargers-Patriots game was kind of a dud, but the other ones were outstanding.
You had the Rams and Panthers on Saturday evening, 34-31, and then led straight into the Packers and Bears. That was just an instant classic. Especially with the rivalry implications and everything. That game will live in Chicago history forever. Caleb Williams touchdown. The DJ Moore touchdown there was wild. You could just see it like unfold, and like in real time, it was really fun to watch.
I don't know what Green Bay was doing that whole defensive drive. 3 plays earlier, he was open and dropped the pass, and man, I was thinking, oh, he had missed that one. But then Swift is just sitting out there in the flat, no one around him. Yep. So I know people.
Go ahead.
And I know people are like, oh, they've scored too quickly. I have been waiting at least 10 years, if not longer, for the attitude to go from let's just throw safe, let's run the football, and let's kick our tying field goal and hope that we make it. Or, 8 years ago against the Eagles, it's like, let's just hope we get the field goal to win. We finally went for the touchdown and it worked.
Exactly. And you could say the same thing about the Bills scoring yesterday against the Jags. Yeah, you scored early. Yeah, that sucks. You give time, especially in the Bills' case. They've done it before and lost to Mahomes. But respectfully, Jordan Love or Trevor Lawrence are not Patrick Mahomes or the
Chiefs. Exactly.
You have to take the victory when you can get it. And I'm sorry, but even if I'm the Bears playing the Chiefs, let's say, I'm still scoring the touchdown with a minute left because you're winning the game. You have to rely on your defense, go make a stop. It worked out for both teams this weekend.
It did. The first play of Green Bay's, final drive, they get 3 yards, but they ran 25 seconds off the clock there. They get to midfield. They end up having to use their last timeout kind of early in the drive, and then their player gets hurt on the next play. That
Absolutely.
Was really rough.
Yeah.
It's not just a 10-second runoff. Once they place the ball, the clock starts.
Yeah.
So it basically ran 15 seconds by the time the pass was snapped. That one pass that Love threw to his receiver kind of around the 2 or 3 yard line. I don't know what was going to happen there if he caught it. He wasn't going to get in the end zone. I'm not even sure they get there to run another play. So it was going to be close.
Yeah. Yeah. Obviously you want to catch that, but I don't know that dropping it did them really any harm because I agree. I don't think they would have gotten another playoff.
And then once they fumbled the snap on the next, the 7 seconds, the couple extra seconds that they gave them almost gave them another play. But once Love fumbled the snap, that was kind of it. I thought the game started going sideways for Green Bay when they came out in the second half and didn't try to control the clock more. And every time they kept punting the ball back to Chicago, I kept thinking, man, there's so much time left.
Yeah. And then you turn around and you give up a 25-6 fourth quarter and you lose.
And the penalties and the missed kicks, you
lost your discipline a little bit there at the end.
The delay games, the false starts, the holdings, those extra 5 yards made all the difference on that field goal attempt that McManus missed.
Yeah.
If that's 5 yards closer, that looked like it was good.
Agreed.
they just kind of lost their way, and the Bears took advantage of it. That 4th and 8. I don't know entirely if Love was trying to hit Odunze, who he ended up hitting. There was 2 guys there. It was a little bit of Hail Mary. Hey, hopefully one of those 2 guys gets it, and it worked.
Yeah, exactly. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
Should Matt LaFleur come back as the Packers coach? He's going to. Should he? I personally think yes, because this is a team. I mean, they were 9-2, and then Parsons gets hurt, the anchor to your defense, and then you lose some high-scoring games. I'm personally okay with it. If Parsons plays against Chicago this weekend, they would have won.
Especially because Jordan Love looks like he's going to be a pretty good quarterback in the NFL. He's coming after Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
Are we expecting him to be that level?
For the Packers, I mean, that's what they do. They hit
I know
every single time.
So I guess my point is, if he's not like them, then LaFleur's doing a decent job with them.
Agreed.
So we'll just have to see going forward. I think you do have to at least give another year.
I agree. Yeah. Speaking of coaching changes, should the Eagles, after losing to the 49ers, move on from Nick Sirianni?
No.
I don't think so. I think maybe you look at some offensive changes, but
yeah,
I don't think you get rid of Sirianni.
They kind of like Kansas City need a little more explosiveness on offense over the top. It's too much, let's get the first down, and move the chains. But at some point, you got to be able to get over the top. And so, no, I don't think it's time to move on from Sirianni.
And finally, will Justin Herbert ever win a playoff game?
Not when you score 3 points.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, the defense didn't do a good job. I mean, they gave it, 16 points?
16, yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know.
I agree. All right, moving over, keeping it rolling, college football. We are sitting here with as we all predicted, a championship game in Miami of Indiana and Miami.
Yes.
Miami is actually going to be the visiting team here because of the way seating and everything works. So they will be wearing the road jerseys.
Sure, there. Yeah.
By that, it doesn't do anything, obviously. Most expensive college football ticket, I think, ever. At this point, tickets are averaging like $3,900, so absolutely crazy. But Oregon, I mean, Indiana beat Oregon 56-22. Miami beat Ole Miss 31-27 in a really close game. And honestly, you feel for Ole Miss because all of those coordinators that Kiffin took to LSU, calling them all back and wanting them back in the middle of the week was shit. And I'm sorry, but that was a really terrible thing to do. Not that Kiffin's going to win any brownie points ever again in Oxford, but I just didn't love that. Miami, I mean, their defense helped them just close out the game and get over the hump. Indiana's 56-point outburst really impressed me. I don't know about you. I'm assuming
they just keep scoring. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
They scored the first play of the game. It's a pick six, and it's like, well, this is rough.
This is going to be interesting. Yeah.
Indiana's got to be the favorite. I know it's on the road, but
Indiana's favored by 8.5.
Yeah. So as
of now, I would agree with that. I'm taking Indiana to win it. I don't think there's much more to be said.
You do have to give Miami credit for, I don't know if there was question that they got in, but maybe the way they got in.
Oh, absolutely questionable that they got. I mean, they deserve to be in over Notre Dame. Point blank, they deserve that. That being said, it's nice to see them kind of vindicate that by winning.
Yeah.
Over-under set at 48.5. I don't know that it gets that high, especially if Indiana ends up winning by 8. That's a lot of points. But we'll find out. Moving along, kind of keeping on the same wheel as Indiana. They come in super undervalued. They really have to prove it time and time again. Nebraska this year in college basketball.
Mm-hmm.
To a lesser degree, your Vanderbilt is the same way. But really, really for our Nebraska fans that are on here, predictive metrics still just continue to weigh them down. We're talking 16, 17, and they are 16-0 right now after beating the Michigan States, the Ohio States, like Illinois, all of these good teams. They just won at Indiana. What are your thoughts?
It's incredible to watch. And I think it's difficult for some of us because we don't think of Nebraska Vanderbilt as big basketball schools.
Yeah.
So naturally, we keep them behind Purdue when you could easily argue that either one of those could be ahead of Purdue right now.
Yeah. I will say this year has been a exercise in making sure I'm truly blindly bracketing teams when I go to do it. I did truly take names off. I used numbers. I do not have the net rankings memorized, so I used the net rankings to do the bracket and then filled in names after. That really helped me take the bias or any sort of subconscious issues out of it. But before we move to bracketing, predictive metrics. I had a Nebraska fan ask me this. They're very upset about it, and understandably so. Are they biased because they include preseason weights and post performances, like post previous year performances?
Bias in the terms of like intentionally placing teams below because of it? I don't think so.
I agree.
Maybe the way they implement it may have some bias to it. And I think, like, for example, Ken Pom, some of his preseason weight comes from the previous 5 or 6 years of how you've done. It's a little different now with so few of the players from the previous teams coming back the next year. Yeah. So I wonder how he's going to tweak that in the coming years, because I'm sure he will. He's a smart guy.
He will. He definitely will get out of it. I know he added coaches into it a little bit heavier this year to help kind of balance out some things, and that'll help. I mean, your Fred Hoibergs of the world and that kind of thing. But I'm just curious, like, I understand you've got to have previous year's data in it, but there is absolutely some sort of objective. I mean, it's objective bias, but it's still a bias. And that's what I told them when they asked me the question. There's not a good answer for it. Yes, it's biased. Any metric that uses any number is going to be biased if it's not just looking at solely the data for this year.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, yeah, you can do that on Torvik, but even Torvik's rankings have preseason bias baked into them, like they all do. Even though the net says it doesn't, I would argue the net has some preseason bias in there as well, and they're definitely going to lean towards certain teams.
It almost has to.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't just throw all this data out on December 1st and be like, here you go.
Yeah. For like statistical analysis, you would need 40, 50 games to be able to solely do that and get an accurate representation, and we'll never have that in college basketball. So, no, you're never going to get an unbiased metric. No, Ken Pom does not hate Nebraska. No, they're not intentionally placing Purdue up and Nebraska down. It's just you have to sustain success to get that little bit of a bump. Ask the Memphises or the Providences of the world. It's happened to them a couple of years back, especially Providence, where the metrics just don't reflect what you're actually doing.
Yeah.
But metrics won't keep you off the 1 seed, especially if you keep winning. Nebraska's up from 51st to 17th on Ken Pom right now. So they are definitely moving up, and they will continue to do so.
It's interesting to me that despite the last 2 performances by Michigan, they're still number 1 in the net over Arizona.
I would love to know, and we'll never know because they're not going to tell us, what the net has ranking, like how it does, what it does. But
like, was Michigan that far ahead of Arizona that they were able to stay there while barely only beating Penn State by 2 and then losing at home to Wisconsin?
They definitely shouldn't have been. If they were, that's a mistake on their part.
Yeah. Because I argued that even prior to the last 2 games, Arizona had a better resume than Michigan.
Yeah. You could definitely make that argument at this point in this. I mean, definitely now in this, you're making that argument. I think there's a closer debate to have Michigan below Duke or Purdue than there is to keep them up. They have 1 Q1A win, and if you start really tearing that resume apart, it's not as unblemished as it looks now that you add in a Q2 loss at home to a Wisconsin team who, frankly, was not in the tournament before beating Michigan.
No.
And I think
that's why I routinely had Arizona ahead of Michigan.
Yeah. Breaking news, Jalen Lowe is having season-ending shoulder surgery literally as we – like, I just got the alert saying that was happening. So, for Kentucky, that'll come up. Sorry, I know I was sidetracked. Speaking of Kentucky, first team out. Now, without their starting point guard, that's going to really hurt.
I was going to say they might have been back in the field after their recent win, but that's rough.
So I dropped them out this week.
So what kind of surgery did you say it was?
Shoulder.
So that is season ending, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. Hope said his season's over. Brutal for Lowe. It really seemed to be a good guy and really just seemed to really invigorate the Kentucky offense when he was there. Just he was hurt too much. For Kentucky now, maybe Colin Chandler steps up. I mean, he looked good on Saturday night against Mississippi State, but we'll see. Moving back up towards the top of the bracket, though. Sorry, that came through my phone as we were talking.
Yeah.
Arizona,
I do think you could argue Duke over Michigan.
Yeah. I mean, realistically, that top 8, if you wanted to tell me, hey, I'm putting Nebraska and Vanderbilt up there and dropping UConn and Michigan, right now I'm okay with that.
UConn deserves very much to be
UConn deserves
a
1 seed, but if you wanted to say, hey, I'm putting the 4 undefeated power conference teams, I could see it. There's
I see what you mean.
Yeah. There's definitely an argument for Vanderbilt to be up there, even though that Bama win, I'm still questioning if that'll age as well as it looks right now. But Vanderbilt got serious consideration. I will say Nebraska, with those predictive metrics, is a clear 8 out of that group right now for me.
Alabama is going to depend on consistency and health because they're without a couple of their guys too, I think.
Yeah, 2 starters didn't play against Vandy, and then Phylon got hurt in the middle of the game. So, and I'm not making excuses. It is a good win for Vanderbilt. It will age, and it'll stay well. But I am curious to see kind of how the committee evaluates that, especially when Bama gets good again.
Moving down to Houston, that was very impressive how they looked on the road against Baylor, against a Baylor team that really needed that game.
Yeah, and so, I mean, against NBA players. Sorry.
they haven't won a game since they got them.
No. I mean, I think that goes to show you and I do not think that we should be adding NBA players midseason, but maybe we overreacted a little bit. Maybe these guys aren't going to come in and just ruin the game. So just wanted to throw that out there.
If they were NBA players for real, they would be on NBA teams playing.
Bingo.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Houston's in a really good spot now. I really like overall, I like the team. They still haven't played a Q1A game. That will come, but they've now got the 4-1 record in Q1. It's getting harder and harder to ignore.
And they're starting to look a little more like the national championship, contender we thought of them coming in. Now, maybe a little bit of how they looked on over the weekend had something to do with Baylor as well, but we'll see.
I definitely think Baylor is tail spinning hard. Oof. And I'm getting to the point where I wonder if Scott Drew regrets staying at Baylor.
Yeah. Me too.
Kind of looking at that 3 line, though, BYU, Gonzaga, Houston, all pretty close. I think Illinois is a step behind those 3. Gonzaga, BYU, Houston feel like they're in their own little category right now, to be fully honest with you. Gonzaga up there, they have the one Q1 win or Q1A win, so they got the bump. Unfortunately for them, though, they're only going to have a couple more opportunities. For most part, it's going to be landmines.
St. Mary's and Santa Clara are the toughest ones.
Yeah. Looking at BYU, 5-1 in Q1 just gets the nod over Houston, who's 4-1. Both of those teams are really good, and they're going to play each other eventually. So we'll get some clarity soon enough on that.
Illinois has played a tough schedule.
Yeah, they have. And I mean, they deserve. They're 2-3 in Quadrant 1A, and that's just in 1A. They're 4-3 overall, so they've got those 2 extra wins. No losses outside of that. Unfortunately, their resume metrics just a little bit behind where I'd like to see them. So when we're talking about splitting hairs for a 3 seed, that's why they're behind those teams. But definitely ahead of a Michigan State team with double-digit resumes and predictive metrics and a Q1A record of 1-2.
Did they consider the Illinois win at Tennessee a road win, or did they consider that as neutral? I think it's still neutral. Yeah.
I think it's neutral. It should be.
That annoys me.
Did they play in Nashville or Knoxville?
Yeah, Nashville.
Well, then it's neutral. Unfortunately,
that's about as neutral. That's about as neutral as Illinois playing at the United Center.
Oh, I mean, completely agree. But by their definitions, that's a great cheat code for a Tennessee team who should have taken advantage and didn't.
Yeah.
Speaking of Tennessee, moved them down to the 7 line. Would love your thoughts on where the Volunteers stand.
You never know what you're getting from that.
Yeah.
I mean, they've beaten Houston and lost to Syracuse and got blown out by Florida. I mean, we're not close.
Correct.
That game felt like, I don't know if it was 10-0 right away in Florida, but it felt like it, and that was it.
Yeah, it felt like they just kind of like ran away and hid. The first half was close, but it just, I don't know. By the end of the first half, it was over. I turned it off.
It's funny to say this, but right now at the SEC, outside of Vanderbilt, you don't know what you're getting from any of these teams any night.
I think Arkansas is good. I know that Arkansas just got pummeled by Auburn, but I think Arkansas is really good. I do think Florida is good, and they are trending in a great direction. And then I do think Alabama, once healthy, is a top 10, 15 team in the country. However, I don't know that they can get healthy enough and stay healthy.
Starting to wonder about North Carolina's consistency from game to game too. Texas Tech, I think, is kind of a sleeper team. I like them.
Agreed.
So there you go, Matt.
And we talked about them on the Space on Friday night as a Final Four caliber team. I mean, I think they're flying under the radar a bit because of just how good the Big 12 is. But I mean, sitting here with resume metrics of 15, predictives at 22, 3-4 in quad 1. I mean, it's really not a bad resume. 1-3 in Q1A. So just need to bolster some bigger wins, and they'll jump up the seed list.
Clemson's doing a nice job. Louisville, I don't know what's going to end up, because I mean they've lost a couple tough games. They've been without Michael Brown or Mikel Brown, however, and then these Kentucky wins, these Indiana wins are not helping them much.
What Louisville needs, and by all accounts, they're not going to have Michael back tomorrow. They may not have Conwell back tomorrow either. They are bringing one of their G League players off of his red shirt. They're going to burn that. I'll have more on that on my Twitter. But I'll be in Louisville for their game against Virginia tomorrow night. Really interested to see how this team looks without the two best guards on that team. I don't know that this is a 5 or a 6 seed anymore. I think we're going to be trending towards a 7 or an 8 if they keep playing the way they have.
St. John's, I don't know quite if I buy them as a 6 with still their resume metrics down in the low 30s. I don't know.
So here's the really hard part about putting a bracket together. You have to put somebody there.
Right.
I really think Tennessee, Utah State, UCF, Auburn, any of them earn it.
Maybe Kansas, but they're not consistent anymore either.
And I have Kansas as a 6, so I mean, you could flip them, but like
maybe UCF. I might put ahead of St. John's. I don't know.
UCF's predictive metrics are 50 average.
I know.
And then their resumes at a 20. They don't have a Q1A win. They're 2-2 in Q1.
Yeah, and UCF's escape against Cincinnati does not help those predictive metrics at all.
Yeah. And St. John's got that 18 in the predictive side, so that's what they kind of bumped up. I know it's not fun, but that's where we're at with them.
I like SMU, although, just as after they beat Carolina, they lose a couple in a row, but they got opportunities this week to make up for that.
Yeah, and they played Duke without Boopy,
right.
Which, I mean, big old asterisk going to go beside that. They only lost by 7? I mean, that's a solid performance against a Duke team that is top of the country at Duke. Like, I'm buying in on what SMU has at this point.
Georgia, Miami, Iowa.
Yep.
I need to see more.
Yeah.
Than just, wins over bad teams.
Agreed.
Iowa 4 or 5 in Q1 now.
0-3, but then 3-1 in Q2.
They had a good opportunity against Illinois, and down the stretch were, I don't want to say gifted a flagrant foul that went from being a personal foul to a flagrant foul the other way, where they had a great opportunity to make up the, what was it, like a 6-point deficit and didn't convert it.
Still couldn't do it though.
No. Miami, they had a nice win recently, I know, but then I don't know.
When you're talking 12-0 in quadrants 3 and 4 right now, that it's hard to.
Right.
It's hard when you just have 2 wins outside of those bottom quads. That being said, the win over Wake and the win over Georgia Tech even and Pittsburgh, those were challenging games that they found a way to win, and that means something. That means I definitely need to see more out of them.
Don't know that I trust Seton Hall moving forward, but right now I would probably have them ahead of Iowa, Miami, Georgia, right around where St. Louis and St. Mary's are, but it's kind of splitting hairs at this point.
Yeah, and I mean, the problem with them, their predictives are 10 points lower than Miami's, who has the worst predictives out of the three of them.
And
again,
some of that comes from what we thought of Seton Hall coming into the season.
Correct. But, I mean, you could say the same thing about Miami.
Yep.
Who is sitting there at 37-7. I mean, it's unfortunately that's just the nature of the world. If you got to overachieve those expectations, but Seton Hall's resume metrics at 23.3 will carry them. That's the best of that group that we just talked about. Credit
to Seton Hall for going on the road and knocking off Georgetown. Impressive. Yeah. Good job. Now they got UConn this weekend.
Yeah.
And big opportunity.
I think it's 3 or 4 times in a row now that UConn has not beaten Seton Hall, especially in Newark.
Yeah.
You would go from, I think you're okay, to you're in a very good spot as a 5 seed or something.
Easily. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I mean, this could be a season-defining game.
Oh, absolutely. And, I mean, if you want a comparison, Wisconsin jumped from 6 or 7 spots out of the field to a 9 seed for this week real quick just for this. So it's very easy still to move. It's going to get harder as we move along, but these are the kinds of wins that can completely alter your season.
And, if you're NC State, you just go out and beat Florida State by 50,
If you put up 113 on somebody, I don't care who it is, it's a good win. Even if it's D1 or not in D1, you did well.
NC State is trying to do what their NC colleagues did last year, where they're 0-5 in Q1 and 12-0 or whatever it is everywhere else.
And that's exactly what we're happening. 12-0 exactly. Perfect comparison. Those predictive metrics are 25.3, bumped them up from an 11 to a 10 for me. But the quality metrics, or not quality, resume metrics got to come up from 45. But you'd get in the tournament right now.
Talk about helping Texas's sake. First, they go and win at Alabama, and then they get the resume boost from NC State winning by 40 against Florida State.
Correct.
And that was the only thing that kept Texas on the page.
Yeah. And even with all of that, Texas currently sits at an average of 75 on their resume metrics and 46.7 on their predictives. That is not getting you in the tournament. Especially 1-3 in Q1A with a Q3 loss right now.
And now they get Vanderbilt. And it's crazy to have to go 2-0 against Alabama and Vanderbilt, but when you're as far back as they were, I mean,
looking at their schedule, maybe you don't have to beat Vanderbilt, but you definitely have to play them close.
Yeah.
Especially a home game. You don't win that, you're going to have to rattle off some upsets off on the road. And we're talking beating, an A&M twice, Missouri twice, Georgia, Florida, that kind of stuff. You're going to have to beat some of these teams that aren't going to be easy to beat, especially on the road.
I think that was Texas's second win over top 200 net teams, something like that.
Yeah, they got
long way to go.
NC State and Alabama are their 2 wins. Everything else sucks.
Right.
You lost to Arizona State. You lost to Virginia by almost 20. Mississippi State beat you. Tennessee pummeled you. These aren't great losses per se. They're not terrible, but they're not good. Oh, the SEC is just hard. That's not what we're having this year.
Some of these losses that Texas has taken and some other SEC teams to, say, South Carolina, Ole Miss, are making those teams look better than they are. Yep. Mississippi State, too.
Agreed. Mississippi State's an interesting one. I really thought that if they would have beaten Kentucky on Saturday, we might have started having some discussions. But a team that we are having discussions about suddenly, Texas A&M.
Yeah.
Buckyball has completely revitalized that program at this point. It took them a while to get going, but now they've got the resume metrics at 41.7, predictives at 37.3. That'll get you in the tournament. You're 1-2 in Q1 with a Q1A win. No losses. You've got the Q2 loss, but no losses in 3 or 4. That's a solid resume overall. But we're still going to need to see more.
New Mexico, fun to see there.
Agreed.
They're playing pretty good basketball.
Exactly, and they're beating Air Force by 50 or whatever it was the other day. That helps. Predictives are still 53-3. They do have a Q1 win and a Q3 loss, so probably.
But the resume metrics are all top 40.
Yes, 39.3 average. But yep.
Oklahoma State just kind of hanging in there.
competing
beat
with
somebody.
Iowa State was enough to get them on the page because I had to put somebody in there. They've got resume metrics at 30.7, but their predictives are 61. They really need to beat some teams.
UCLA, Indiana, uninspiring. Stanford has shown that they can beat some good teams. They could also show they could lose to bad ones too.
Was it Mississippi State a couple years ago that had the losses in every quad and got in the tournament?
Yeah.
That's what they remind me of. That's my comparison to them, but definitely an opportunity for them.
Let's discuss a team kind of close to where you are, Miami, Ohio.
Yes.
16 or what is it, 17-0 now?
17-0, and resume average of 40, predictive metrics of 91.7.
So we're combining all three resume metrics as 40.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can kind of throw out KPI.
If you throw out KPI, they're going to be like 26.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The tough thing for them is they've already played three of their more, let's call it, acceptable losses, right? Yeah. They just played Toledo, and they already played Akron and Bowling Green once.
Correct.
I'm
gonna go ahead.
The fun part is going to be if they lose one regular season game and in the conference tournament, will they leave out a 31-2 team? Now, I get their strength of schedule is terrible, and they didn't really play anyone in non-conference. I'd love to know, and if there's any way of finding out, who they tried to schedule in non-conference and decided to say no. Because I suspect that there are probably some high majors that they tried to play that said no.
I will not confirm names because I'm not going to bash programs, but there were several local universities at the Power 5 level that said no.
Yes.
And I mean, like, I'm talking 150, 200 miles away in a circle. There's probably 6 or 7 of them that said no.
And those will be the same athletic directors that are going to say when they're 32-2 or whatever, "What? Oh, you didn't play anyone."
Exactly.
Yeah.
So again,
but
won't say names, but yes, it happened.
We talked about this off air. Their best hope is just play as good as you can and win the automatic bid.
Yeah. I don't trust a 31-2 Miami team to get in the tournament. I mean, their best game is UNC Asheville at UNC Asheville right now. And I mean, their best win is at Wright State. I skipped over Wright State. And that, I mean, they looked good, but it's still a 13 or 14 seed that they're beating. They have not played a tournament level team. They have looked good, but they haven't played anybody. So
as I said, they've already played what would have been one of their more acceptable losses. Yeah. There's a lot of Eastern Michigans and Central Michigans and Northern Illinois that they got to play. Yeah. Yeah. So
maybe, I mean, I'm looking at their schedule. You lose to Toledo at home. You get Marshall.
Kent State, maybe you lose on the road. Maybe Kent State.
Road game, yeah.
Yeah.
But you're going to have to go do something like that. I just don't see it happening.
Yeah.
I love the Red Hawks, and I wish that they would get in the tournament, but I can't in good faith put them above a Stanford or an Indiana right now and expect to be taken seriously.
MVC action. Murray State, Belmont. What an incredible game that Belmont won over the weekend on the road against Drake, down 25, and they come back to win on a layup at the buzzer. That kept probably their slim hopes alive for the moment. It's a slim hope.
Yeah.
I think Illinois State and Northern Iowa's hopes were dashed by losing this weekend.
Agreed.
If they had any at all.
Murray State is on the I have to win out train.
Yep.
To get it. The next loss will cut them.
Yeah.
They've got predictives at 87.3. They're going to need to win 20 games in a row or something to get those spots up.
Mm-hmm. Below that, I don't see any realistic at-large possibilities for those other auto bid ones that you have there.
Agreed.
UNC Wilmington is 16-2, but much like Ohio, the strength of schedule is like 350.
Yeah, and they've already got 2 losses. You would assume they would have to take a third, obviously, to not get the AQ. They're done.
Yep. They automatically have to take a third loss to not get. Yeah.
One team I think is really interesting, George Mason with a resume of 38.3, predictives of 82.3. For reference here, Stanford, who I have in the tournament as of right now, has a resume of 40 and a predictive average of 76. The reason that Stanford is in over George Mason is they are 3-1 in quadrant one. 3-1 in quadrant one with a quad 1A win. George Mason has no quad 1 wins.
Yeah. Have they played a Q1 game?
One.
Yeah.
And I hate to be like that, but if it were me making the tournament bracket, yeah, I'd have them in. But I'm not. That's not what I'm doing. No. Their quad 1 game was at Virginia Tech, which would have been a really good win, but they lost by 11.
VCU's chances are really starting to slim. I mean, the Virginia Tech win is nice, but they're not winning any other meaningful games. They've had opportunities, lost to Utah State. I think they lost to New Mexico, lost this one. I think they lost a previous game recently to somebody that was pretty good in their league too.
Yeah.
They're just not getting the ones they need.
And I mean, they've got a resume average of 70. Their predictive average is 53, which might get you in if you had a really good resume average, but not with a resume of 70. And yeah, like you said, St. Louis and George Mason, they played back-to-back and lost both of them. That'll effectively do it unless they run the table. And I'm talking beating St. Louis on the road, Dayton on the road. You're going to get Dayton at home, George Mason again. Like, you're going to have to win some absurd games to have this conversation.
So if your goal is to get your resume metrics average inside the top 50 and you're at 70, it's pretty tough to get them up that much when you're playing Loyola Chicago, Fordham. It'll help your predictives when you beat them by 40, but it really doesn't help your resume metrics much.
Resumes, again, for you guys that we're talking about metrics, that unfortunately the committee does use these very heavily. Well, I would love to just say that we just use the results on the court. That's not how this works, and that's why we're kind of trying to talk about it. But the predictives very influenced by spreads, the resumes based off of who you beat.
I will tell you right now, if I don't see your resume metrics, at least 2 of them above 100, I'm not looking at you much right now. And as we get sooner, if I see at least 2 out of 3 not in the top 90, it's the same kind of thing. You only go up after much as the season goes on.
I am to the point where if you're below, if you're not 75 or less, I don't look at you. So, I mean, you can cut a ton of teams that you may look at that I'm not even like considering right now, just because you're nowhere close to the bracket at this point. So, I mean, a VCU I'm going to take a peek at, but I'm going to take one peek at that resume and cut it right off. I mean, that's just how it is.
I'm trying to think of like one team that came from the fringe that went all the way up and ended up making it. And
Xavier did that last year.
Yes, that was it. That was literally it. So those teams that are in fringe now, most of those have the resume metrics below 60 to 70 already. It takes a while.
And normally, if you do that, you have really solid predictives on the back end. And I'm not saying like 20s. I'm saying like 30s or 40 predictive metrics. So, I mean, a team that you could look out for that kind of fits that bill right now is West Virginia. Resume metrics at 83. Predictives are 48. Like, if they're going to kind of regress to the mean, if you will, those resumes should come up. But that's still a long way to travel compared to how far they've got to go.
And unfortunately, I mean, Kansas is good, but beating them at home is not like you're beating one of – yeah.
Absolutely.
I do have West Virginia on as one of my fringe bubble teams along with Arizona State and Kansas State.
As you should with at least West Virginia, especially with that win. Yeah. I mean, Kansas is a good win. It's just not – especially at home, it's not necessarily the win. Any other thoughts, questions, comments on the bracket?
No, not really. Let's go through some of these bubble teams in the league real quick. We kind of talked really about all the A-10 ones already. So, ACC, I think, Duke, Carolina are in pretty good shape to be in the tournament. Louisville, they'll get there. It may not be as pretty, but they'll get there. Yeah. SMU, Clemson, Virginia, I think are all in pretty solid spots. SMU would probably join the near lock category if they win one of these 2 games at home against who they have coming up, I think, here. Yeah. And then I have no idea what's going to happen with the rest of these teams. Miami needs to win more games. NC State, needs a quad 1 win.
Yeah.
Cal, I just don't think is good enough, but they're not bad enough yet to put them down to fringe. Virginia Tech looks pretty solid. Of the bubble teams that I have there, I feel like they're in the better position of them.
Absolutely. Sitting here with 38 average on the qualities or the resume side, and then that 69th predictive metric. So they're a team kind of opposite of what we talked about a minute ago, where they need to bring up those predictives, and you only can do that by winning games and doing it greater than you expect to. So we'll see what happens.
Remember, their big win was that triple overtime win against Virginia, and I know it shows they won by 10, but when a game goes to overtime, you really only get credit for 1 point win at that point.
Yeah.
As you should. So Wake Forest, they got to close these games, man, or win some of these last-minute games.
0-5 in Quadrant 1, and then 2-2 in Quadrant 2. This isn't a tournament team.
It doesn't feel like it.
For a while, I was thinking they might be, but I don't think they're a tournament team. I think they're a good mid-level team. They're just not a tournament team.
They played Carolina close. They played Michigan close, but you can't just close. You got to win eventually.
Yeah.
Stanford, you got to give them credit for trying.
Predictive average of 76 is tough. That really needs to get closer to 50 before you're going to be able to stay in. But as of right now, I have you in, but it's rocky.
I don't know right now that Syracuse and Notre Dame worth mentioned that much discussion right now.
Agreed.
But long way to go. Beyond that, it's not happening. Sorry, Pittsburgh, it's not happening. Let's move to. There's not much to talk about with the American. We can talk a little bit about South Florida and Tulsa, but
they're both. I mean, Tulsa 72 resume, 78 predictive. South Florida 74 resume, 69 predictive. There are a total. I mean, South Florida's got the 2 quad 1 wins, and that's about it. Each of them have a Q3 loss. They're nowhere close right now.
Big 12. Arizona could become a lock this week for me. They might be if they win on Wednesday. I do like to see 18 wins before I lock teams, but I might do it with 17 with 15 games left or however many they have left. Yeah. I know people were talking about, why do you wait till 18 wins to lock a team? There are very few teams in the 64 to now 68 team era when it wasn't the COVID year that got it large with fewer than 18 wins. I mean, we're talking a handful maybe that I can think of.
Exactly. And for those of you who may be new to the lock situation, it is the team can lose every single game and get in. So We're talking Arizona going 0-14 the rest of the year. Not going to happen, but that's what we're waiting for. So you're going to see some people start locking, but once we either Mike or I both, when we lock teams, it's final.
I will say if they win on Wednesday, I will take the risk.
That's a worthy risk, I think. Yeah.
Arizona, Houston, Iowa State, Texas Tech, all in very good spots. Kansas is still fine. We're not talking about being a 1 or 2 seed, but as far as making the tournament, they're fine.
Yeah.
Central Florida,
BYU there.
I should have, but yes, they're in that section too.
Just making sure.
Central Florida, it's kind of like Seton Hall, where I'm not quite sure I totally buy it yet. I think they're in good spot.
Situation, yeah. Seton Hall's a great comp. Resume metrics of 20, predictives of 50. I mean, you got the 2 quad 1 wins. You got no losses outside of quad 1. You've done enough to be in the tournament right now. However, beating Cincinnati last night was very important.
Yeah, they would have dropped back down to the bubble
Agreed.
section if they had lost that. And now we're finding out that beating Baylor home isn't what we thought it was.
Correct.
So Colorado, Oklahoma State, Baylor, TCU, all bubble teams. Colorado feels like a pretty generous spot in here, but their profile is enough to be a bubble team. I don't expect them to make the tournament. TCU had their chance again, I thought, but didn't come away with the win that they needed to.
I agree. And I mean, they blew 2 games this week, right?
Yeah.
The Arizona, I mean, you're not going to beat Arizona, but you had Kansas on the ropes and you just couldn't finish it. And now you get BYU. After that, I mean, Utah, Oklahoma State, Baylor, and then Houston again. Like those aren't, you're going to have to rattle off a bunch of wins if you're TCU.
And TCU wasn't close to being Arizona.
Correct. Yeah.
And when you have a New Orleans loss in your resume, you need to do a lot to make up for it.
Yeah, and I mean, resume metrics of 62. Agree with that.
Arizona State, West Virginia, Kansas State, all long shots to me at this point.
At this point, I will touch on Cincinnati. They don't have a win outside of quadrant 3 and 4. They are 8-1 in quadrants 3 and 4, and then 0-7 in quadrants 1 and 2. At this point, with the quadrant 4 loss, you are not. I won't eliminate you officially, but it's not happening.
They're not even like in keep an eye on mode, like say Providence might be.
Agreed. I just had to touch on them because they're local.
Yeah, that's fair. Moving on to the Big East, UConn is kind of in a similar spot as Arizona. They're really, really close to being a lock.
Agreed.
After that,
icy quick.
Seton Hall and Villanova are in good shape for now. We'll see if that continues or not. Creighton, Butler, St. John's. St. John's is a lot closer to being in good shape than not. Those 2 wins on the road at Creighton and Butler put them in pretty good spots. Again, they're in the field for sure now. They would not have been if they didn't win those games.
Agreed. Yeah. And important distinction here. Even though Mike said them alphabetically, St. John's is, again, much farther ahead of Creighton and Butler. Creighton and Butler are not in the tournament right now. They're both close, but St. John's is very clearly in at the moment. So I just wanted to clarify that.
Creighton looks like they're playing well, and then you kind of look at what the actual profile is, and I think they're like 4-6 or 5-7 in Q1 through 3. That's just not good enough right now.
5-7, and then 5-0 in Q4.
Yeah.
But good news for them, they're going to get a lot of opportunities to kind of fix that.
Right. And then I don't even have a fringe bubble team.
Again, Xavier, as I talked about with Cincinnati, Xavier's not there. I mean, they're 92nd in resume metrics, 104th in predictives. If you want to start, I mean, again, run the table and we'll have a conversation. That would include beating UConn at UConn.
The one that comes to mind that's not on the page as a little bit of an eye on is Providence. I mean, they won at St. John's and they gave UConn a pretty tough game.
Agreed.
But they didn't win.
2-1-2.
Yeah. So I don't know. The
Providence team that I watched get absolutely boat raced by Xavier the other night is not a tournament team.
Right.
They're just not.
Yeah. Big Ten. Michigan, Michigan State, Nebraska, Purdue, Illinois, they're all going to get there. I have no issues with them. USC and Iowa, I'm not even sure if good shape is the right category for these 2 teams.
I think they're more complete than anything.
Yeah.
I mean, I get why you have them separated out, but yeah.
Metrics-wise, they're in pretty good shape, but they need to put some wins with them that need a little more oomph. Yeah. UCLA, Indiana, Wisconsin, Ohio State, all got some work to do.
I mean, UCLA is kind of sitting there like we talked about with the predictive being way ahead of the resume. I mean, UCLA is 61 right now in resumes, but then 36th in predictives. They could really use a win on Saturday against Ohio State.
The loser of that game is going to be in a tough spot.
Yeah.
I mean, these teams, when you think of, I have them needing 7 to 8 to 8 to 9 wins. It doesn't sound that difficult until you realize they're playing in a Big Ten where that's not easy to do.
Where 5 of those games are going to be Michigan, Purdue, Illinois, Nebraska, Michigan State.
Yeah, exactly. So I think at least one of those 4 teams will get there.
Yep.
If you maybe put a over under at 1.5, I might take the over. If you made me do it at 2.5, I would take the under for sure.
Yep.
Washington, Minnesota, a lot of ground to make up. Both are playing okay and are having decent years, but
Minnesota is much improved under Nico Medved.
Yep.
We'll talk next year.
Yep.
Washington, yeah. I considered them for a minute, but that was about as far as I went. Not
I'm just going through them on my page, but like the Big West teams, Coastal, CAA, Hofstra, Liberty, and Conference USA, it is win out, and we'll see.
Yeah, it's win out, and I still don't think you have a chance.
Yale's in the same boat, especially losing to Princeton. Usually that's not such a bad loss, but this is not a very good Princeton team this year.
Yep.
We talked a little bit about Miami, Ohio already. Belmont, Murray State, we kind of touched on. The Mountain West is kind of interesting. Utah State's in pretty good shape. Beyond that, I think New Mexico in the field today, probably. San Diego State is starting to make a run. Boise State heading in the opposite direction. Nevada, Colorado State, a lot of ground to make up.
And one of the collateral issues with Boise is St. Mary's is going to take a bit of a hit when we get to the WCC with Boise dropping like they have.
Yep.
I agree. New Mexico's sitting there with those resume metrics at 39. Predictive still at 53, but it's enough. San Diego State's predictive and resume are both in the 50s. They are suddenly coming on pretty strong.
SEC, Vandy, Tennessee, Arkansas, Alabama, pretty good bets to make the field.
Agreed.
Florida and Auburn, I think, are also pretty good, but less good bets to make it. After that, we'll see. I think Georgia, A&M are in the field today.
Agreed.
We're going to have to see how Kentucky looks moving forward. They haven't looked all that great anyway.
But, I mean, Lowe's been out in and out most of the year. I think, if anything, the finality of him being out for the season will be helpful.
Might not be such a bad thing. Yeah. Missouri, kind of a one step forward, 2 steps back kind of a thing. I mean, they didn't have a bad loss over the weekend, but.
Again, I mean, 50.7 resume, 54 predictive, right there on the edge of are you good or are you not good? So we'll see.
There was a point during their non-conference where their strength of schedule was the worst in the country. So a lot to make up for that. Texas, that was a huge win like we talked about. Long way to go. Okay. LSU, they got a ways to go.
And I would argue LSU's
maybe not
in the field today.
Yeah.
They do have the Q3 loss and not a ton on the upper half of the resume, but they do have a quad 1 win. And they're sitting there at 5 and 4 in quadrants 1 through 3 right now. It's better.
Let me clarify. Still a lot of work to do.
Yes. Yeah. Sorry, I just meant like they would.
I know. And then we have a long shot with Mississippi State, and it's a long shot.
It would have been a lot shorter had they won on Saturday in Lexington.
Yep, but they didn't.
That would hurt.
McNeese, sort of fringy in the Southland, but like other mid-majors that I mentioned, it is win out or good night.
It's win out, and then you get to that point, just go ahead and win your conference tournament.
Yeah.
In the state a couple years back.
What is I think there may be one team that's somewhat close to 100 in the net, Stephen F. Austin, and then it's like 200 and 300.
Quick.
Yeah. Even New Orleans, who looked decent when they beat TCU, has not panned out to be very good.
Absolutely.
West Coast Conference, Gonzaga's going to be in pretty comfortably, pretty easily. St. Mary's, I have not put them above the bubble section. They beat a lot of good mid-majors during the non-conference, but
I mean, resume metrics are 27, predictives are 36, no Q1 wins. That's where that Boise issue is going to really hurt them. Because that was a road game, so that was really helping the metrics. But 9 Q3 wins.
Santa Clara, every year, it's the whole consistency issue. I think they're going to need at least 1 / maybe 2 wins over, say, Gonzaga / St. Mary's.
Yes. Yeah, and they're a team that Xavier's slide down has really hurt them because it's dropped it just another. I mean, instead of it being a borderline Q1 win, is now solidly Q2. Will stay there for the rest of the year. So that one hurt them as well.
And if I didn't mention you, you're probably not getting there at this point.
Nobody else is close. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So we're sitting here about an hour of recording. So I think we've gotten you all kind of up to date on everything you need to know with the bracketology picture, as well as talking about the NFL and a little bit of college football. We'll be back before the college football playoff next week just to kind of talk more basketball. But we're really starting to see the fields kind of take place here for basketball. Really starting to hone in on some teams. It's getting to be that kind of crunch time. Conference plays live. Make sure you check out Mike's bid watches on nkybracketology.com. I have your daily viewing guides on there as well. So make sure you're subscribing, liking here. We'll be back frequently. I'm posting videos kind of sporadically as I attend some of these bigger games as well. So thanks, guys.
Thanks, everyone.